Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast.
Today we're looking at advanced micro devices, or AMD. The big question is it a good time to buy now?
We want to hear from you. Subscribe, like, and comment to support the show. And if there's a specific company you want us to look into, leave it in the comments below.
So let's get into the analysis.
Okay, let's unpack how we got here.
Yeah.
Anyone watching AMD's chart these past few months has seen, well, a pretty steep climb. But it wasn't just random, right? We saw the stock kind of setting up back in August, climbing steadily.
Yeah, and that initial push, it wasn't really based on hard news yet. It felt more like, pure market optimism. Investors were kind of smelling a big opportunity, especially in AI.
It's fascinating, isn't it, how anticipation itself becomes like a financial asset. By September, that general optimism really zeroed in on strategic positioning.
Yes, exactly. The market was essentially, pre-buying the stock. They were convinced AMD's big R&D spend meant major AI contracts were coming. A bet on innovation.
And, well, those bets paid off. October. That's when the story really became reality and the stock got its biggest jolt. We saw two really pivotal announcements.
Right.
Let's start with the huge one. The strategic partnership with OpenAI.
Yeah, that OpenAI deal it's genuinely transformative. Committing to deploy 6 gigawatts of AMD GPUs, that's more than just a large order. It's a huge statement.
6 gigawatts. That number is hard to wrap your head around.
It really is. It represents a massive long-term infrastructure commitment. It basically embeds AMD tech deep inside one of the world's most important AI players.
So locking in future spending.
And critically, potentially starving competitors of that core business. It's a huge validation for their hardware.
Okay, so massive validation there. But the second October event, that shows management is thinking strategically about margins too, right? The divestiture of the ZT Systems data center business to Sanmina.
Exactly. Why offload a data center infrastructure company now?
Well, the strategy seems laser-focused. They shed ZT Systems, which was, mostly physical manufacturing.
The margin stuff. Right. Signaling they're doubling down on the high-margin semiconductor design, the software optimization, and stepping back from assembling the physical infrastructure itself.
So you get this massive growth driver with OpenAI, followed immediately by a move to streamline and boost profitability. That's quite the 1-2 punch.
It really is. A strong operational thesis.
Okay, so that's the narrative. Now let's look under the hood. The core health of the business, the fundamentals. Is the balance sheet actually strong enough to support this kind of aggressive expansion?
Absolutely. And the fundamentals, well, they really do back up the technical momentum we've seen. AMD shows robust, consistent revenue growth, and often they're actually outperforming industry peers.
Which is no small feat in semiconductor.
Definitely not. The key driver is clearly that strong ongoing demand in AI infrastructure and data centers. You saw it validated in their last Q2 2025 earnings, and their, frankly, very optimistic guidance.
So the growth is there, but growth costs money, right? What about financial stability? Can they afford this?
That's where the longer view matters. Look, the company keeps a healthy balance sheet with manageable debt levels. This is crucial.
Why crucial now?
Because scaling up for something like that 6-gigawatt OpenAI deal, that takes immense capital.
Right.
Healthy financials give them the flexibility for these huge strategic investments, keep R&D humming, and, eventually provide shareholder returns. They aren't leveraged so much that a market hiccup stalls everything.
Okay, so it sounds like they're carving out a pretty significant competitive moat here. It's moving beyond just like who has the fastest chip this quarter.
Precisely. They've cemented a strong position in both CPUs and GPUs. They're leveraging brand strength, that relentless innovation pipeline.
The AI accelerators are key now.
Absolutely. That growing presence there, backed by hyperscale clients and now the huge OpenAI deal, it just deepens that moat substantially. But, this is the point where for serious investors, you absolutely have to do your own deep dive. You need to look at the detailed financials, specific debt levels, free cash flow, all that's in AMD's latest SEC filings, the 10Q specifically.
It's essential advice. Okay, so the money's there, strategy seems clear. But what's the market mood? Is the price action confirming what the fundamentals are telling us? Let's talk technicals.
Yeah, the market mood is definitely confirming the story. Looking at the price action, the stock's showing a pretty textbook bullish trend, consistent higher lows, higher highs.
And it's trading around, what, $255.97 currently?
Yeah.
Sitting nicely above key support levels?
It is. And the near-term technical picture looks quite Well, aggressive. It's trading above both the 50-day and 200-day simple moving averages.
Classic momentum signal, right?
Yeah.
Short-term trend stronger than the long-term.
Exactly. And what's interesting is the momentum indicators suggest stability, not just hype. The RSI, the Relative Strength Index, it's near 69.
Which is strong, but not crazy overbought territory.
Right. It signals strong underlying buying pressure without necessarily screaming bubble territory just yet. And the MACD also shows healthy bullish momentum. It suggests this is, pretty stable accumulation, possibly driven by smart money.
And that stable accumulation, that's clearly caught the eye of analysts. We've seen a bunch of upgrades based on that future guidance and the strategic wins you mentioned.
Absolutely. The street is definitely aligning. UBS, for instance, hiked its price target dramatically, $210 from $150. They're clearly optimistic about data center performance.
That's a big jump in confidence.
Huge leap. And they weren't alone. Truist Securities also upgraded AMD to buy, setting a target of $213. So yeah, the pros are seeing the validation, especially in that AI positioning. They're connecting the dots we just talked about.
Okay, so those targets are based on what we know now. But the market always looks ahead. What specific events over the next 3 months could really determine if AMD hits those targets and keeps this bullish story going?
Right, catalysts. We have 4 key scheduled ones coming up pretty quickly. Timing matters here. First, November 1st, ETF rebalancing.
Why does that matter so much for a big stock like AMD?
Well, with this much momentum, major index funds might be forced to buy or sell really large blocks of stock just to match their mandates. That can cause, temporary but pretty significant price swings.
Got it. Then what's next?
About 2 weeks later, November 15th, we get the institutional buying report. This is super important because it shows what the big players, hedge funds, mutual funds were actually doing last quarter.
The whales.
Exactly. If they were piling into AMD, that's a massive vote of confidence.
Okay, but the real nail biter, the biggest catalyst this quarter, has to be December 10th, the Q4 earnings report.
Absolutely. That's a moment of truth. It's the market's first real chance to see the financial impact of that OpenAI partnership and how well that leaner operation is working after the ZT system sale.
A miss there could really hurt.
Oh, definitely. Failing to deliver on expectations could trigger a serious pullback. And then, rounding out the year, December 20th, the holiday retail report.
Consumer demand.
Yeah, it gives us a read on demand for AMD-powered gadgets during the big holiday season. Always influences things a bit.
Okay, so those are the scheduled dates. But beyond those, there's always the rumor mill, right?
Yeah.
And the noise around AMD right now seems pretty exciting.
It is. The juiciest rumor is probably more AI expansion, like beyond just the OpenAI deal.
What would that signal?
It would suggest AMD is achieving real ecosystem lock-in in AI accelerators, not just relying on one big partner. That'd be huge.
And on the CPU side, still hearing chatter there.
Oh, yeah. Constant speculation about new competitive CPU launches aimed squarely at challenging whatever Intel's putting out. That's, a head-to-head market share battle. Never gets old.
We also keep hearing those unsubstantiated merger and acquisition rumors. AMD may be looking at smaller bolt-on acquisitions in emerging tech.
Those persist. And operationally, there's talk about renewed efforts in GPU supply chain optimization, trying to boost efficiency, cut costs.
So lots of potential upside fuel.
Yeah.
But these rumors feed the enthusiasm. We got to shift gears, though, and talk risk. A 9 out of 10 bullish rating sounds amazing, but it suggests almost no risk. And, well, that's just not reality in semiconductors, is it?
No, definitely not. It sounds almost too good to be true sometimes.
Right. Like, if demand is so high, where are the usual supply chain headaches? What are the specific weak spots here?
Okay, risk number 1 has to be execution. The sheer scale of that 6-gigawatt OpenAI deal is just staggering. If AMD hits unforeseen manufacturing bumps, maybe over-reliance on TSMC, or if there are software integration problems with the new GPUs.
Failure to deliver.
Exactly. Failure to deliver on that commitment could trigger a massive correction. It would just shred investor confidence.
Makes sense. Supply chain reliability is everything with these huge clients. What about outside threats? Competition?
Competition, yeah. Especially NVIDIA and GPUs, and those emerging ARM-based solutions trying to muscle into the data center, that remains a constant threat.
NVIDIA is not exactly standing still.
Not at all. An unexpected killer product from NVIDIA or even Intel staging a real comeback could shift the whole narrative fast. And then you still have the macro risks, interest rates, recession fears, geopolitics. those still impact spending by AMD's big corporate customers.
So the key really boils down to management's ability to just execute flawlessly on this roadmap they've laid out.
Precisely. The whole investment thesis hinges on strong execution, smart financial management, and continuing to land those key hyperscale deals.
Okay. So putting it all together, the strong fundamentals, the AI-driven growth, the technical momentum, but also acknowledging those real competitive and execution risks, what's the final verdict? Is now a good time to buy?
Look, based on synthesizing all this, the overall investment thesis comes out as overwhelmingly bullish. We're rating it a 9 out of 10.
Wow, 9 out of 10.
Yeah. The structural growth drivers in AI and data centers seem poised to deliver sustained long-term gains, and you've got multiple near-term catalysts offering a pretty compelling short-term upside, too. The stock looks attractive for both, shorter-term traders and long-term investors.
That 9 out of 10 rating really speaks volumes about where they sit strategically right now. But let's leave the listener with this final thought to chew on. What does the sheer scale of that 6-gigawatt OpenAI deal truly imply for the future competitive landscape of AI infrastructure? Think about it. The commitment isn't just about selling chips today. It feels like a permanent statement about AMD's influence in actually defining the future architecture of AI itself.